everybody. Welcome back to Rocky's Recap, Week 10 in the NFL. Y'all bear with me as I'm a little sick, so I'm congested. I'm going to hope to not cough or sneeze all over y'all and get through this no matter what by any means, right? So let's get started. What a Week 10. The Saints and the Steelers cruised big wins to lengthen their division leads. The Titans made a huge statement with their victory over the Patriots. The Bears locked up another NFC North victory, and the Redskins survived an ugly win over the Buccaneers. In the late games, the Rams hung on to barely beat the Seahawks, while the Chargers made it 6 straight victories with a win over Oakland. So let's get started from the top. Thursday night football. The Steelers versus Panthers. What a game. Steelers dominated. Big Ben had a near perfect day. This is now the Steelers' 5th straight victory. And like I said, it was a near perfect day for Big Ben, who completed 88% of his passes, a perfect passer rating of 158.3, and had more touchdowns, 5, than incompletions, 3. Huge. Very efficient. Very big showing for him. Big Ben finished the day 22 of 25, 328 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he did get sacked once. He had 158 passer rating, like I mentioned, and his 5 touchdowns were to 5 different targets. Very impressive. And he also rushed for 27 yards. Antonio Brown finished with 6 receptions, 96 yards, a touchdown, and a 53-yard touchdown. Put it on turbo like he did in his car apparently right before the game. No pun intended. Juju finished the game 3 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown with a 75-yard touchdown pass on the first play of the game. Both Antonio Brown's 53-yard touchdown catch and Juju's 75-yard touchdown catch are their longest catches of the year. James Conner happened to be contained less than 100 yards. He finished with 13 carries, 65 rushing yards, and a touchdown, and 1 receiving yard for 8 yards. 1 receiving attempt for 8 yards. James Conner has 4 games with 100-plus rushing yards and 50-plus receiving yards and at least 1 touchdown. That is the most, like with this type of combination with the 100-plus rushing and the 50-plus receiving and at least a touchdown, that's the most combination by a player in a single season in NFL history. He also has already had 9 rushing touchdowns, which is more than Bell has ever had in an entire season. He matched Bell's career high with 11 scrimmage touchdowns. So are they missing Bell? I think not. All right, so like I said, the Steelers' offensive powerhouse, they scored 21 points in the first 11 minutes of the game. Vince Williams, the defensive end, had a pick 6. Bostic led the team in tackles, 10. As far as the Panthers go, Cam Newton was 23 of 29, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He got sacked 5 times and was only able to rush 10 yards. So he struggled a lot under pressure like he has all year. Costly pick 6 that swung the momentum of the game and really is what created this much of a lopsided game. This is his first interception in the last 4 games. And McCaffrey, on the other hand, 14 rushes for 77 yards and a touchdown, 5 receptions, 61 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. So he got all the touchdowns and was really honestly the only spark for this Carolina game. He has the most career receiving touchdowns, 9, for a running back in franchise history. Eric Reed led the team in tackles, but also got burnt on a couple of long plays. He ended up leaving the game late for targeting Big Ben. 52 points has been the most ever surrendered by Panthers in franchise history. No, there was no pass rush. They added pressure on the secondary, which clearly got burned on a few long ones. So, very lopsided game here. Next game, Saints versus Bengals. I can't wait to talk about this one. 51-14. I pretty much stopped watching, and that's my team. I was like, they got this. Let me watch some of these close games. Saints, with their 8th consecutive win, longest streak in the season right now. Momentum is off the chains. They've beat the undefeated Rams. Coming off of that, you would think they might have been a little bit still on high and, might have faltered. But no. Going into the Bengals, they come out with the victory. Definitely the momentum is still going strong in their favor coming off of that win. Drew Brees threw 3 touchdowns in the first half, passing Brett Favre's career touchdown passing record with 509 passing touchdowns on his 17-yard touchdown pass to Thomas with 2 seconds left in the first half. He is now 2nd in career passing touchdowns in NFL history. Brees led the team to 5 touchdowns on all 5 first-half possessions with a nearly perfect performance and only 2 incompletions. This guy is MVP. Are you kidding me? Brees finished 22 of 25, 265 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and no, he was not sacked once in this game. Michael Thomas caught all 8 of his targets for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. Michael Thomas has passed Odell Beckham Jr. for the most receptions in a player's first 40 games in NFL history, and it's 267 receptions. They dominated on the ground and had a nearly 2-to-1 ratio on time of possession advantage. The ground game accumulated 244 yards on 47 carries, more than 5 yards per carry. Mark Ingram had an amazing performance, 13 carries, 104 rushing yards, 3 receptions, 58 yards, and a receiving touchdown. Kamara, 12 carries, 56 rushes, 2 rushing touchdowns, and Dwayne Washington even adding to the mix with 11 carries, 47 yards. 509 total offensive yards on the game. They converted 60% of third downs and rushed for over 240 yards, like I just mentioned. This offense is on fire. The Saints ran the ball on 47 of their 74 offensive plays, which means that's a 63.5 rushing percentage. This was one of just 4 games since 2000 in which the Saints ran the ball on 63% of their offensive plays. Saints pass rush was giving Dalton hell. There was no chance for him to get any kind of rhythm going. There was 4 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Marcus Williams came up with a nice interception and a nice return for 78 yards. And Eli Apple had his interception return for 29 yards and 2 pass deflections and 3 tackles each. Huge performance. Congratulations to Eli Apple joining his new team, getting an interception. So very impressive performance defensively. As far as the Bengals, I mean, defensively, the Bengals just stunk it up. There was no pressure, no coverage. The Saints' offense was just too much to handle. And the few chances in time that they did get on offense, there was, like I said, no protection or time for Dalton to try to get anything going. It was horrible because our pass rush and the Saints was absolutely relentless. They were savages out there. The Bengals matched the most lopsided defeat in franchise history and gave up the second most points in franchise history. They were clearly just coming off this bye week. Maybe they had too much rest. I don't know, but things definitely didn't look good for them. Also, another fun fact. Since 2011, the Bengals are 4-6-1 when A.J. Green does not play. So clearly, huge factor when A.J. Green is playing. But honestly, guys, the bottom line is the Saints offense owned the trenches in both phases, rushing for over 240 yards and not allowing a sack. So, the last time the Saints started 5-0, this is my favorite fun fact. Y'all listen up. The last time the Saints started 5-0 on the road was in 2009, and they finished 7-1 on the road and 13-3 overall. And guess what? Won the Super Bowl. We are coming. Black and gold to the Super Bowl. Black and gold. All right, let me chill out. Anyways, let's take a closer look at the action with the Saints versus Bengals.
A lot better today. They've got a chance to win this game. Play fake to Kamara. Breeze pressure. Throws. And he's got a completion. Who else? It's Michael Thomas. And Breeze looking at Michael Thomas. Gonna throw it that way. Diving. Did he get it? Yes, he did. Touchdown, New Orleans.
Field, which means you have to have irrefutable evidence to overturn it. Look at him moving away from William Jackson. Ball's to the outside. He reaches out to try and grab it. They call it a touchdown.
Here's Breeze. 4-man rush. Oh, man's wide open. It's Ingram. Breaking free into Cincinnati territory.
Taysom Hill in now playing tight end.
They will fake it. Breeze looking, coming back to Ingram. Gets a great block. Mark Ingram sprinting ahead inside the 5. Touchdown. What a block by Andrus Peat and a 28-yard score. Breeze. Time. Firing. Arnold. He was stretching trying to get into pylon, but he's not going to get there. Breeze. Throwing. Looking. Touchdown, Thomas. It's an onslaught.
13 and maybe do a little something extra. Let's see what they do. He just runs past the linebacker and in front of the safety, and that's to really self in 2011 starter in their Super Bowl team.
Fake to Ingram. Breeze back, gonna let it fly. blitz is coming. Dalton gets buried. Alex Anzalone with the blitz and the sack.
Linebacker as he did as a rookie. Look at this. They occupy Billy Price, number 53.
As you can see, a very dominant performance on the Saints' behalf. Next game, Browns versus Falcons, the Nick Chubb show. Mayfield and Chubb, both rookies, put on a very impressive performance. Mayfield was 17 of 20, 216 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks, and he even rushed for 20 yards, which is the first 3-touchdown game of his career, by the way. He had 151.3 passer rating, which is the highest by a Browns starting quarterback since 1978. I know that may not be saying a lot since the Browns have been poo for a while, but still, really great performance by Mayfield. He didn't throw his first incompletion until halfway through the third quarter. Very decisive, accurate throwing going on by him. Nick Chubb, what a show. 23 touches, 209 scrimmage yards, 2 touchdowns, and had a huge 92-yard touchdown run. That was the longest run in franchise history and the second longest rookie run in NFL history. The first was 97-yarder in 1949, so it's been a while. He finished with 20 carries, 176 yards on the ground, and a touchdown with 3 receptions, 33 yards, and a receiving touchdown as well. He led in both categories, obviously. Callaway and Higgins, though, did have each a touchdown and nice catches as well. The defense with 2 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries. Jay Collins Sr. with 1 and led the team with tackles and 9 tackles, 1 for a loss. Great run defense by the Browns. Jay Schobert, big factor coming back. He looked good. And also the Browns, basically the best overall performance in years to end a 4-game losing streak, which was very impressive. They just looked great all around the ball. Atlanta, on the other hand, had no running game. Definitely impacted them huge. Also, there was no Ridley action. Ridley was very quiet, and I think that's a huge component in them winning, honestly. Julio finished 7 receptions, 107 yards, and a touchdown. He's the fastest player to reach 10,000 in 104 games. He's 11 quicker than Calvin Johnson. So congratulations to Julio on that. That's pretty much the only good thing that happened for Atlanta. Matt Ryan fumbled twice, lost it once. Sanu also lost a fumble, so definitely some ball security issues on offense. However, on defense, Kazi on defense recorded another interception this game. He leads the league with 5 interceptions, so kudos to him. Another great attribute. But it really didn't matter because, like I said, there was no run defense and no pass rush. Secondary struggled. While Ryan had a good, decent game against Cleveland, his receivers let him down by not making contested catches or gaining yards after the catch, which AKA means Ridley. Ridley was like a non-factor. Then this prevented the Falcons from maintaining any kind of long drives, which was just too much to overcome for the team. So congratulations to the Browns. Moving forward, Titans versus Patriots. What a game. I love seeing the Patriots go down. This was like the game that I switched from the Saints game because I was like, I got to watch this happen. The Titans defeat the Patriots for the first time since 2002. Titans dominated Patriots in all phases of the game, basically. Darius Jennings' opening kickoff return for 58 yards set the tone of the game, basically. Mariota was 16 of 24, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he even rushed for 21 yards and had 21 receiving yards. He had 2 passing touchdowns in the first quarter, only had 1 passing touchdown in his previous 27 first quarters. So we're seeing a turnaround happen for Mariota. Watch out for this Titans team as they start to click into this season. Henry and Lewis combined for 115 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns for Henry. Corey Davis, what a great performance. 7 receptions, 125 yards and a touchdown. And also a very good game defensively. They shut down the run game for the Patriots and ended up holding Brady and the Patriots to 10 points. Huge. Kenny Vaccaro had the best game of his career as a Titan. Nice tackles. Definitely looking good, like I said, this Titans team, if they can continue this. As far as the Patriots go, like I mentioned, there was no running game. Brady was 21 of 41 for 254 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, lots of pressure. He could not get into any kind of rhythm. This is the first game this season Brady was sacked 3+ times. It was a tough day for him for sure, who looked rattled by constantly collapsing pocket and the inability of his receivers to create any kind of separation. Brady was forced to throw the ball away on numerous occasions, but also struggled to put his receivers in a position to make plays. Edelman finished 9 receptions, 104 yards, Josh Gordon finished 4 receptions, 81 yards. Defensively, they most definitely struggled. Gilmore, in particular, could not keep up with Corey Davis at all in coverage, as you can tell. And the Patriots have allowed 17 points in the first quarter for the first time since 2013. Another fun fact is D. Lewis, Malcolm Butler, Logan Ryan, and head coach Mike Vrabel are all notable former Patriots. So this one had to feel extra special for them. So kudos to them. Keep it up. Next game, Bills versus Jets. The Bills scored more points than the last 34 games combined. That's crazy. So crazy. The Bills' largest win on the road since 2011. The Bills followed a 30-point loss with a 30-point win in consecutive games. The first time in franchise history. Matt Barkley's first start as a Bill went well. He was 15 of 25, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. LaShawn McCoy finally showing up and had a good game. He had 26 carries, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Murphy contributing as well with 14 carries, 69 yards. Robert Foster finished with 3 receptions, 105 yards. And this is the first 100-yard receiver on the season. Robert Foster. Oh, which, by the way, was called up from practice squad. He's an undrafted free agent rookie out of Alabama. Check him out. You go, Robert Foster. Zay Jones finished the game as well with 8 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Micah Hyde had a nice, impressive interception with a 16-yard return. Milano as well with an interception and a 29-yard return. So all around, the Bills were looking good for once. And we'll see how long that lasts. Barkley may be a missing key. Anyways, another quarterback starting new on the other side was the Jets. Josh McCown, 1734, 135 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, no run game, no receiver was over 35 yards. Not a good O-line performance at all. Despite the ugly performance overall, as usual, Avery Williamson still did his thing on defense, forced fumble, and he led the team in tackles for losses. He's a consistent in that Jets defense for sure, no matter how ugly their losses look. Next game, Jaguars versus Colts. What a close one. This is 3 straight wins for the Colts, first time since 2015, and they're kind of another team that's clicking late. The Jags tried to fight back at the end. The Colts defense, Geethers stripped the ball, and Malik Hooker scooped the ball up late in the fourth quarter to end the game. The Colts defense had great success slowing down the Jaguars' rushing attack, and considering they were built through the run game, it forced the ball into Bortles' hands, which we know is never a pretty picture. Luck finished the game 21 of 29, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. The Colts tight ends combined for 9 receptions. 9 of 11 receptions with 136 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 6 first downs. Ebron with 2 touchdowns. Very impressive showing from their tight ends. Sunday marked the return of Leonard Fournette. Congratulations on being back. But like I said, the Colts did a good job containing him, so his best play was actually a receiving play. He finished 24 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown, and 5 receptions, 56 yards, and a receiving touchdown. Dante Moncrief with a huge touchdown reception. We'll see a highlight of that later. 3 receptions, 98 yards, and a touchdown. The offensive line struggles will ail the run game as well, so this offense is pretty much screwed, honestly, until they can figure that out. Bortles threw over 300 yards and no turnover-worthy plays, but he still couldn't get the job done. So even when Bortles is okay, he still can't get it done. He finished 26 of 38, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, surprisingly. He didn't get a pick 6. We were all, betting on him, here comes a pick 6. It didn't happen. But he still couldn't win. Calais Campbell was the only one really making his presence felt in the pass rushing attack with several pressures and great run defending as well. Telvin Smith with an interception, and he led the team in tackles with 8. Honestly, Ramsey and Bowie, the duo that was a staple cornerback duo in the past, has pretty much unraveled. I know Bowie's out on injury. Ramsey has no excuse. No one is stepping up in their absence of production. There's busted coverages. Everybody's looking lost out there. It's just really ugly for the Jaguars. Next game, Bears versus Lions. Bears is another team to look out for, guys. Bears won their first division game since 2016. They had 10 straight division losses entering this game. Trubisky's 148.6 passer rating was the highest in a game by a Bears quarterback since 1950. This was the Bears' fourth game with 30-plus points this season. They only had 3 such games in the previous 3 seasons combined. Trubisky finished 23 of 30, 355 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 passing, 1 rushing, and no interceptions. Very impressive performance by Trubisky. This is his 3rd game this season with 300-plus passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns, the most by a quarterback in a single season since 1950. There was no rushing game, however, but who needs that when you have Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller? Allen Robinson finished 6 receptions, 133 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Anthony Miller with 5 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown. Most receiving yards by a Bears rookie since 1999. By the way, Anthony Miller is a rookie. That's who I'm referring to. Great performance. Defense did an amazing job. Prince Amukamara, 2 forced fumbles, 1 interception, 2 pass deflections, 8 tackles. I mean, he is a savage, honestly. Nichols, 1 forced fumble and a sack. Amos recovered the fumble. And the K-Mac is back. 2 sacks recorded for him. And Callahan had 1 interception. Roquan Smith led the team in tackles with 9 tackles, a sack, and a pass deflection. Very impressive performance on defense all around the board for the Chicago Bears. Great performance. Like I said, this is a team to look out for. Stafford, back to being sloppy. 25 of 42, 274 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Ball security issues on offense, 3 fumbles. No rhythm at all on offense. Lions' pass defense was horrendous. Run defense was good, though, however. The Bears have not made a playoff since 2010. That's tied for the 3rd longest playoff drought. Looks like the drought may be over the way that they're looking, however. The Lions and Bears will play again on Thanksgiving Day, which is 11 days apart. This is the 3rd time since 1970 that 2 teams will play twice in an 11-day span, so that was pretty interesting. But let's take a closer look at this offensive explosion of the Bears.
Tariq Cohen trying to find a hole, and he's into the end zone for a Bears touchdown. Corner winding down. Trubisky. Robinson. Allen Robinson, touchdown Bears. On 2nd down, Trubisky well protected, wide open. Anthony Miller slips a tackle. Miller to the end zone. Touchdown Bears.
So as you can see, that Bears offense is powerful as well as their defense. Definitely a team to watch out for. Going forward, Chiefs versus Cardinals. Mahomes has the most passing touchdowns in a single season in team history, 31 passing touchdowns. As well as he has the most passing yards, 3,343 yards, and a passing touchdown, like I just mentioned, 31, in a player's first 11 career games since 1950. He finished 21 of 28, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He rushed for 21 yards as well. Kareem Hunt had 16 carries, 71 yards, and 2 receptions, 25 yards, 96 total on the day. No touchdowns from him, which was surprising. Tyreek Hill finished 7 receptions, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 rush for 20 yards, 137 total yards on the day. Tyreek Hill was effective when covered by pretty much any Cardinals defender that day, not by the name of Patrick Peterson. LSU. Against Patrick Peterson, he was targeted twice, 1 reception, no touchdowns versus Peterson. And against everybody else, he had 7 targets, 6 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. So Patrick did his part. He just, like I said, sometimes statistics on paper don't say enough because, like, if you're never targeted as a defender, as a cornerback, you know, you can't really put anything on a stat sheet besides people who are paying attention to this. Like, he was never targeted, and the few times he was, there was nothing. But anyways, great performance from him. Defensively, Chris Jones had a forced fumble, 2 pass deflections. Houston had an interception. Nelson had an interception as well. And Dee Ford was very disruptive. The Chiefs' defense generated pressure on Josh Rosen on 54.5% of dropbacks, the highest pressure rate by a team in any game this season so far. Unsurprisingly, the Chiefs chose to avoid targeting wide receivers within the coverage of Patrick Peterson, like I just mentioned, and had minimal success when they did. Chandler Jones did great with the pressures. He had 2 sacks, also made a couple of key plays in run defense to walk away from the loss with an impressive showing for sure. Mahomes was sacked 5 times, which is actually a season high for him, while also holding him to a season low of 249 yards. So Arizona defense kind of did their part there, and they definitely quieted Kareem Hunt as well. As far as Arizona's offense, David Johnson was pretty much the answer. He had 21 rushes, 98 yards, a touchdown, and 7 receptions, 85 yards, and a receiving touchdown as well, 183 total yards on the day. He led in both categories. Like I just mentioned, he was pretty much their only offense. He accounted for 60.6% of the Cardinals' scrimmage yards, the most by a player in a single game this season. Next game, Redskins versus Bucks. Ironically, the Bucks outplayed the Redskins on the numbers in regards to double the amount of first downs and over 200 net yards more than the Redskins. But they only got 3 points on 6 trips to the red zone. Big issue there. Lots of mistakes, drops, and ball security issues for the Bucks. Fitzpatrick finished 29 of 41, 403 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. Godwin was pretty much the only mistake-free target that game. He had 7 receptions, 103 yards. Rodgers, the running back, 8. He actually received well as well. He had 8 receptions, 102 yards. And he also fumbled. So, like I said, everybody pretty much was full of mistakes except for Godwin. And that's not going to get the job done. Defensively, though, the surprising bright spot for the Bucks was the strong game by slot corner Andrew Adams. He came on in sub packages, and he was the only one target. He was targeted only a few times, and he allowed a couple underneath catches for very minimal game, and he had a nice pass breakup while covering tight end Jordan Reed. So I guess impressive performance by him, but otherwise Tampa sucked across the board. Alex Smith, 19 of 27, 178 yards and a touchdown. The offensive line woes going on there for sure. Basically, while the Bucks were trying to pick on the Redskin corners at will, their elite safety pairing showed their quality once again, and that's in Swearinger and Clinton Dix. They were stingy in coverage and offered little opportunity to the tight ends and receivers that they were covering, contesting plenty of passes and breaking up at least a pass apiece. So great performance on defense from them. Next game, Chargers versus Raiders. 6th straight win for the Chargers, longest streak since 2009, and best record 7-2 at this point in the season since 2006. Another team to look out for. Rivers finished 18 of 26, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. It actually took him 20 minutes to complete his first pass, so that's kind of weird. Interesting fun fact. Melvin Gordon, however, had a field day, 18 carries, 93 yards, 5 receptions, 72 yards, and a receiving touchdown, 165 total yards on the day. He led both categories. On defense, Jatavius Brown led the team in tackles, 11 tackles, Phillips and Derwin with 9 each as well, and Melvin Ingram with 5 tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for a loss, and a forced fumble. Very impressive performance by him. As far as the Raiders go, Carr, 24 of 36, 243 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 4 times and lost a fumble. Nothing down the field. He wasn't throwing anything down the field. They only had 100 yards on the ground. The Raiders' rookie punter, Townsend, was pretty much the only exciting thing that happened. In the beginning of the game, he faked a punt for a 42-yard game run, which was longer than his previous longest punt until he went on to hit a 57-yarder later in this game. The Raiders have lost 5 straight by 14 points and are 75-9 in the last 9 quarters. Crazy. Packers versus Dolphins. Rodgers, 19 of 28, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But the real thing that happened for Green Bay, Aaron Jones went off. 15 carries, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions, 27 yards, 172 total yards, career high for him on the day. Devontae Adams, 4 receptions, 57 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Packers defense ended up with 6 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, and an interception, so impressive performance by them. Osweiler just continues to struggle. It's just almost hard to watch. There's no touchdown. There was an interception. He was sacked 6 times. There was a fumble. All kicks, no touchdown. Frank Gore, however, the veteran, the OG, the choo-choo train, still carried for 13 carries, 90 yards, and he is now over the 500-yard mark for the 14th straight season. That's an NFL record, passing up Emmitt Smith and Walter Payton. So kudos to Frank Gore, still choo-chooing, pushing along, and not just going, he's going strong. I think he made my highlight. He really just went beast mode on one of those plays. So very impressive performance by him, but he can't do it by himself. The Dolphins are just plagued with injuries, guys, like bad. And it's not helping their already sad case. So Jason Sanders, the kicker, actually tied a franchise record with 4 field goals. In fact, it was a franchise rookie record. He's a rookie. So congratulations to him on making all 4 of his field goals that didn't matter. Next game, Rams versus Seahawks. Wilson finished 17 of 26, 176 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 4 times. And check this, 9 rushing attempts for 92 yards. That's crazy. Rashad Penny finally showing up, had 12 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown. So shout out to that rookie on that performance. Lockett with some impressive grabs. 5 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. I think he made my highlight on that touchdown catch as well. The defense is really starting to shape up nice. Wagner with 13 total tackles and a quarterback hit. As far as the Rams are concerned, Goff finished 28 of 39, 318 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 2 sacks. Gurley finished 16 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown with 3 receptions, 40 yards. He now leads the NFL with his 17th touchdown, which is also a franchise record set for 13 consecutive games with a touchdown. Cooks finished 10 receptions, 100 yards. Woods, 4 receptions, 89 yards. Their defense is really what came up big in this game. Donald had 2.5 sacks. He now has 12.5 sacks this season, which is a career high and just absolutely phenomenal. Crazy to think that my Saints were able to stop him. I'm still like mulling that over in my head. Sue finished with 9 tackles, Littleton with 8 tackles, Fowler with a strip sack and a recovery, 4 sacks on Russell as a whole, 10 quarterback hits. The run defense wasn't so great, but it didn't really matter because they still came up big with huge stops, especially towards the end to seal the game. Next game, Cowboys versus Eagles. Dak finished 26 with 36, 270 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked 4 times, but no interceptions, though he did nearly throw a pick 6 that ended up being dropped. He did also fumble. Zeke, however, went off. 19 carries, 151 yards, a touchdown, 6 receptions, 36 yards, and a receiving touchdown, 187 total yards for the day. Amari Cooper, 6 receptions, 75 yards. Vander Esch led the team in tackles with 13 tackles, a tackle for a loss, pass deflection, and an interception return for 28 yards. Very impressive performance week in and week out by this rookie. The Eagles, coming off of a bye week, honestly just looked listless in the first half. They were trailing 13-3 before rallying late in the third quarter. This is now their 3rd straight loss at home. That's an issue. Wentz finished 32 of 44, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. There was absolutely no run game here at all. Zach Ertz with 14 receptions, 145 yards, and 2 touchdowns, so huge game for him, very impressive. And Aguilar with 5 receptions, 83 yards. Honestly, the defense just could not stop Zeke at all. He went off. Bradham did lead the team in tackles with 10 tackles, but their secondary is just very, very hurt officially after this game with Darby now out for the season. It's just not looking good for the Eagles, guys. It's just a really sad story for the defending Super Bowl champions, for sure. Let's get to Monday Night Football with the Giants versus 49ers. Manning, 19 of 31, 188 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And Barkley, 20 carries, 67 yards, 4 receptions, 33 yards, and no touchdowns for him, which was surprising. Beckham, however, 4 receptions, 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then, of course, the clutch touchdown pass to Shepard with 53 seconds left in the game on the game-winning drive. Very impressive. It definitely made my highlight as well. Defensively for the Giants, B.J. Goodson had an amazing game. He had 6 tackles, 1 for a loss, and 2 interceptions. Very impressive performance by him. As far as the 49ers are concerned, Mullins finished 27 of 39, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Breida had a good game still, 17 carries, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 receptions for 31 yards, and a receiving touchdown as well. He finished with 132 total yards on the day, so shout out to Breida. Impressive performance by him. Kittle finished 9 receptions, 83 yards, and Goodwin 4 receptions, 64 yards, and he had a huge couple hits that knocked him out, but he definitely bounced back and looks to be doing okay. As far as defense goes for the 49ers, Witherspoon got ate up by Odell Beckham Jr., and so did Sherman, by the way. Couldn't contain. at all. So that wraps up Week 10's game performances and what we took from each game, what we learned. So now I'm going to go into the best individual performances by position and best offense, defense, and rookie performances. So starting with quarterbacks, Big Ben, Drew Brees, Trubisky, Mahomes, Mayfield, Mariota, Wilson, Goff, Barkley. That's Matt Barkley, by the way. Receivers, Juju and AB, Robinson and Miller. Miller is a rookie, by the way. Did great performance by him. Corey Davis, Robert Foster, the undrafted free agent, called up from practice squad. Eric Ebron, Tyreek Hill, and Brandon Cooks. Running back, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley, David Johnson, Matt Breida, Melvin Gordon, Mark Ingram, LaShawn McCoy, and Rashad Penny. At defensive back, Prince Amukamara, Eli Apple, Marcus Williams, Kenny Vaccaro, Patrick Peterson, Swearinger, and Clinton Dix. DT and defensive end, Aaron Donald and Sue, Calais Campbell, and Chris Jones. Linebacker position, Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, B.J. Goodson, Vander Esch, Alex Anzalone, Jay Schobert, Telvin Smith, and Melvin Ingram. Special teams, Darius Jennings, 58-yard opening kickoff return to set the tone for the game, and the rookie punter Townsend with the fake punt 42-yard run gain, as well as the rookie Jason Sanders 4 field goals for the Dolphins, though it didn't matter. Best offenses, Steelers, Saints, and Bears. Best defenses, Titans, Bears, Rams, Chiefs, Packers, and Chargers. Best rookie performances this week, Vander Esch, TJ Watt, Nick Chubb, Mayfield, Anthony Miller, Roquan Smith, Rashad Penny, Greg Stroman with his first career interception, Robert Foster, like I just mentioned earlier, which was, this undrafted free agent called up from the practice squad. He was now the first 100-yard receiver for the season for the Bills. Great performance. Now, on to the highlights of Week 10.
Second down and 7. And an overthrow and an interception at the goal line by Josh Norman. He brings it out across the 25 and up to the 32. That is the 5th turnover by the...
Watch a little bit of an assist right here by Mason Foster. His job is to get to the number 3 receiver, defined by the most inside receiver. By him extending his coverage.
Newton keeps, he's in trouble, throws up for grabs and picked. Intercepted by Williams, touchdown. Vince Williams with pressure by TJ Watt. Looked like they're running this boot towards TJ Watt. He's not fooled, but it looked to me like they might be trying to run some type of screen action back the other way as linemen are pulling out to that direction. And I don't know if he thinks he might be able to throw one into this one down of a mile high in the air. And it's going to be intercepted. Saints adding some salt to the wound. Eli Apple, his first interception as a Saints. Chris Banjo got a hand on it. And there are a bunch of Saint fans here in that end zone, and they're going down to say hello.
And as you noted, Kevin, Eli Apple's first pick as a New Orleans Saint. In New York, when he's with the Giants, he played 23 games for them. Had 1 interception during that.
Blitz again is picked up. Dalton's going deep for Ross. It's intercepted. It is intercepted. Marcus Williams with room to go. Marcus Williams gets a block. Taken down inside the 20 with 8 seconds left.
Kevin, you do a lot of baseball. Does this not look like a center field ranging deep and making a play in the alley? That's exactly what Marcus Williams did. He became the center fielding free safety. And look at the blocks he's picking up back downfield. And a nice job blocking.
On second down, it's Chubb. Nick Chubb across the 40. One man to beat. Still going. Chubb will take this all the way. 92 yards for a Browns touchdown. The longest run in Cleveland Browns franchise history.
Zeitler, number 70, in your screen right here. This is just a stretch zone run. Cuts right off of that, and it blocks outside. And then at the end, watch Antonio Callaway. Go that way. Go that way. You can outrun him, and he does. For a big man, he has a lot of speed. And wow, Kenny. This young Cleveland Browns team came here to play today. They got to bring this fan base.
The fake to Chubb. Mayfield under pressure. Fires to the end zone, and the catch is made for a touchdown by Rashard Higgins.
You'll see Jarvis Landry come across into your picture right there. Right there, there's Jarvis Landry. That's who he's looking for in the pocket. But because the pressure is there immediately, he has to make a different decision and just throws it down.
40, shotgun Mariota, fake it, and Mariota will throw, connects. Shotgun for Mariota. Fake and throw. Mariota on time. It's Corey Davis rolling down for the grab on Stephon Gilmore. On that side of the ball, 2nd and 15 for Tennessee. We approach 6 minutes to go, first quarter. Mariota, rainbow, end zone, caught, touchdown, Corey Davis. Fantastic grab.
Does not prevent the touchdown, but look how early this rainbow is launched.
Out of the gun. Mariota steps up. Mariota throws on time. Corey Davis, first down at the 21. Working on Gilmore for 20. 1st and 20. Fake it. Mariota throws, and a laser beam to Corey Davis. Extra yards for Davis. Deron Harmon was hanging on for New England. Mariota, no mistakes. Step and throw. A high one. Corey Davis takes the elevator to the top for a first down. Flag is down.
Again, working against Stephon Gilmore. A little pick play right there, but a fabulous catch as Davis goes high and has to reach all that way back to haul it in.
Goal, play fake, Barkley, time, and he finds Deion Dawkins, the left tackle with the touchdown. Dawkins from nearby Rahway, New Jersey, in his 2nd year at a Temple. The Bills pulling out all the stops today, and they lead it 23-0.
Before that play, Dawkins had to report as an eligible receiver, so he rubbed his belly, and you thought maybe he needs something to eat. No, he's saying, I'm an eligible receiver on the end of the line. He blocks, he sheds the block. I'm surprised he didn't throw his hand up and indicate the block.
Keeping the pressure on Stafford, who goes deep. And is that another takeaway? It is. Prince and Mukamara with the interception. Next play, an interception by the Bears. Stafford. And that's intercepted. Brian Callahan. Bryce Callahan, with the pick and goes to the ground and ruled a clean interception by Bryce Callahan.
Bryce Callahan, he's in the slot, playing the slot. Good job by Kyle Fuller funneling Kenny Golladay out wide. And there you got two guys in the same area. Your receiver falls down. These guys, you can preach takeaways. You can work on it at practice all the time. But we see some teams that just does not transfer to Sunday. The Bears have been able to take that mentality and bring that to the field every Sunday.
Yeah, it was Marvin Jones lifting down. Trubisky, Robinson, Allen Robinson, touchdown Bears!
Is able to look back on the football because it's underthrown, and he's trailing. Right now, he's trailing. He's trying to get back in there. This ball's underthrown. If he can ever, he turns around too late.
Johnny Townsend, rookie from Florida, and then they go the fake, and Townsend's going to run for it. He'll get the first down as a blocker in front of him and gets into Charger territory, still going and knocked out of bounds. John Gruden.
That's a lucky company converting on a 3rd and 14. That pass is broken up and it's intercepted.
intercepted. Telvin Smith off the hands of Mo Alley Cox. Lets this ball get into his chest rather than use those great hands that we've seen. Telvin Smith is beat, but the ball goes right into his hands. Bortles well protected, taking a shot off the seam. He's got Moncrief breaking a tackle. Moncrief, it's a foot race, and he will score. The former Indianapolis Colt coming back to Indy and busting him for an 80-yard touchdown. This coverage with Moncrief down on the inside. He runs a corner route. Look at the throw by Bortles. That is perfect ball location. Moncrief working on Arthur Mollett, and Malik Hooker cannot
definitely has some carry. This is Hunt, and Hunt airborne and then brought to the turf by Budda Baker. And there's a slight disagreement over the way Kareem Hunt was taken down at midfield, and the players announced.
And they get it out to Gordon, and Gordon breaks a tackle. He'll have a first down. He's got a head of steam, and Gordon is going to outrace everybody to the end zone for the touchdown. 66 yards. And if you're hoping, if you're a Raider fan, that the Avalanche wouldn't start, it started. And missing the tackle, Reggie Nelson and Garyon Connolly both missed a shot at Melvin Gordon. Beautiful run.
Well, there it is. I mean, you're facing an 8-man rush right there. So you're just back there playing coverage. They brought everybody. And when you bring that, you got to make tackle.
You got all the double zeros on the clock. 3rd down and 20. Barkley deep, looking for Foster again. Foster, the adjustment in the grab, right in front of Morris Claiborne. A 43-yard pickup.
Deep ball, you throw it deep, and Foster does a great job of not getting too close to the sidelines so that when he has to come back and elevate for the ball, he goes up, he gets it at the high point. Claiborne is still on the ground looking back up at the ball.
Shooting against Danny Amendola, it's a fake. Logan Thomas, a former quarterback, completes it to Foster for the first down. Logan Thomas, drafted as a quarterback out of Virginia Tech, transitioned to tight end, and he uses those skills to convert a fake punt for Buffalo.
That read to throw to the guy who's your flyer on the outside, who did a nice move to fake inside and then run back outside. And you got to remember, Robert Foster, like I said,
Been a nice player for them. Now Fitzpatrick finds Rodgers. And the ball is batted out of his arm into the end zone. And the Redskins are going to recover the football. And another costly mistake by the Buccaneers. Huge play by Anderson.
Packers in the nickel, 2nd down and 10. Here comes Gore, shiftily taking it into the secondary. Look at Gore! There he goes! All 35 years of him and down into the Packers 41-yard line. 39-yard run.
Look at the movement they get here at the point, and then you watch Gore, he's just going to wind it back. And this guy is a finisher. He's got some suddenness and quickness at the line of scrimmage, and he's a tough tackle in the open field.
It's Jones, a block from Lewis, a block up there from Lindsley, and he won't be in there till the 2nd quarter. Steve, thank you. It's Jones with a good block by Kendricks. Into the secondary. Brought down there by T.J. McDonald.
To carry, just needs more opportunities each week. It's tough to get the volume when you've got to have a little bit more balance running the football.
We have a 2nd down and 10. Aaron Rodgers out of the backfield. Here's a screen pass. Bell looking for a block. Here comes Aaron Jones. Banging off bodies like a pinball. Nickel secondary for Miami. 7th play of the drive. We have the 1st and 15. Here comes Jones again. Another block by Lindsley. And here goes Jones. There's a block by Graham. And he's inside the 10 and brought down by T.J. McDonald.
Screen team, because you see the movement from Rodgers looking away from the back. And then they've got an athletic offensive line.
319. Aaron Jones finding a great gap. And there he goes. Foot race with Howard. Foot race with Minka Fitzpatrick. Jones inside the 5.
Linebackers step up and get, there's a huge hole right in the middle of this Miami defense. I mean, look at this hole. I mean, this is crazy. And then he's just off to the races.
Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones. They're shoving him. They're pushing him. Bell is pushing him in for the 2-yard touchdown. With some help from the backside.
He just shoots up in that A-gap between the center, Lindsley, and Bell. And then you just see Bell pushing. You see Taylor pushing. Bulaga comes in there at the end.
Packers have all 3 timeouts. And here comes Jones, who slithers his way for a couple. Brought down by Akeem Spence. Picks up 2. Good. First and 10. Aaron Jones throws a great block inside. Bulaga and Bell laying the wood. He's down to about the 10.
Big guys to do their work up inside, and he's just very patient. You see that initial cut, and he's straight downhill, and he's not down right there. He's done a nice job finishing runs.
118 yards on the ground. Jones. St. Brown a block. Touchdown. His second today, and the Lambeau leap for the
second. You know I wanted to say something. Wilson going to the end zone. Oh, what a catch! Outstanding throw. It's just a normal play action, and Russell, he knows the corner's not looking, so he throws a 50-50 ball, and watch who he throws the football to. You ready for this? Well, I think it's Lockett. Do you have something else that I don't know? I'm talking Lockett. Oh, right there. Ball is on the ground. Picked up by the Rams. Carried into the end zone. I believe he's down. That's Dante Fowler of all people. Play. And off the edge, and you see with a good move. And you can't step up in the pocket because of these great D tackles that the Rams have. And this is why they went and got Fowler to provide. 2nd and 7. Looks to go deep, and he connects on the sideline again. It is a catch by Cup. See if he gets in. Looks good to me. Picks up 25, and yeah, that's in. I mean, this route combination was 44-yard line.
Lynch fires over the middle, and that's picked off at the 37-yard line by Vander Esch. The Dallas rookie with the interception and a good run back, still going all the way down to the 38-yard line. Their number 1 at a Boise State, Leighton Vander Esch, right over the middle.
Watch Wentz look to his left, which he often does, and then just fires it back over the middle without ever even taking a glance. It wasn't mysterious. You got a 6'4" linebacker in the middle of the field, and he just never saw it. You know, Wentz this year has had 7 interceptions dropped, and there's a guy who replaced Sean Lee who's having a
little sleight of hand there, but he gets it away to Elliott. And Elliott with a great move and a 12-yard gain out to the 46-yard line.
Right around the edge comes the Dak Prescott. May have been fooled or just saved a little bit there on that kickout block by Jeff Swain.
Prescott's with 7 different receivers. Elliott. Big hole. Hurdle. Inside the 20. Loses his balance, but he gets inside the 10 for a 1st and goal. Went right over Trace Sullivan.
Is he going to try this? But the defense knows it too. He doesn't go low. He's standing up and still got him jumped over the head of him. I bet you he's dying that he ended up. Look at this. I mean, can you imagine being Trace Sullivan and knowing contact is coming and absolutely nothing but the bottom of his tailbone hit his helmet?
2nd and 23. Here's Elliott. Elliott weaves his way to the 35. It's going to be 3rd down and very long. Military folks in attendance tonight here in Philadelphia. Over from Skycam here. Start with a 14-yard run by Zeke Elliott for a 1st down.
Here we go. That's a pretty good start.
It is a nice job. Elliott again. Elliott off to the races again inside the 30, and then Jenkins is able to dislodge the ball but out of bounds. So Zeke Elliott.
And then it was up to Rasul Douglas to close that gap, and he just couldn't get there. But now the Cal.
3rd and 2.
Nice snap. Tosses back to Elliott. He'll turn it upfield. Picks up a first down and a lot more. The 47-yard line. You got Michael Gallup facing him bottom of the screen. You give it to Elliott. Breaks a tackle. What a night he is having.
Some of the best the Eagles can throw at him. But tonight, Ezekiel Elliott, if he is given an interest, he wants to throw one to Amari Cooper one-on-one, he has it.
And Sullivan, the rookie, is on Cooper. Meanwhile, the pass is caught by Elliott for a touchdown. So Zeke Elliott doing the bulk of the work on the ground and now catches one for a touchdown.
Jordan Hicks is going to get picked off by his own guy. He's going to try and follow Elliott across the formation. He's going to run into Brandon Graham, and that was that. Nothing he could do.
Cowboys back on top. Marr in the second half. First and goal from the 9. Play pocket 1. Elliott, big hole. Elliott with the fullback. Olawale. Give it to him, and he's able to get into the end zone. Not the cleanest handoff, but he gets it in there anyway, and Dallas has the lead again.
Right out here like that. Pick up Graham, and then it was all Zeke Elliott, and this has been fun to watch. It was great watching defense, but this has been an
according to Next Gen. 2nd and 1. Looks left. Hauled in. Sterling Shepard. How about it, Eli?
He got it in. Can't say enough about Eli Manning, though. Responding in that situation, how long of 8 games it's been. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Feeling the nerves of not knowing what to do.
Fullback. 2nd and 12 from his own goal line with time. And that ball is intercepted. B.J. Goodson off the deflection.
And Joe, that's the problem with a young quarterback. He's holding the football in the pocket, and he's making a throw from the right hash all the way across the field to the left sideline, and he's late with it. You can see it in rhythm and timing. Nothing's there. He's pumping the ball. Now he makes that throw all the way, and it's late. And Janoris Jenkins makes a break.
And it's intercepted, and again it's B.J. Goodson. What a night he's having. And Goodwin is hurting again.
Well, they tried to go with the play action to Kittle, and they had Goodwin come back on a jerk route underneath. And he hooked up, and then he tried to go, and then he hooked up again. I think it just confused Mullins on what he's going to do it. You can see Goodwin go across, hook, and then go, and then he kind of stops right there. That subtle change.
That wraps up Week 10 Rockies Recap. Thanks for watching. I hope you stay tuned for next week Rockies Recap of Week 11 in the NFL. And everyone have a blessed week. Thanks.